Does everyone have their own Shulchan Aruch? So then we don't need this. Okay. All right. So we have here the beginning of a Shulchan Aruch about Hilchos Shabbos, and really it's very much a hemshich to Pesach in a way, because the discussion here is, what does it mean Mikra Kodesh? When we have the term in the beginning of Parshas Emoir, sorry, not the beginning, in Revi of Parshas Emoir, so we have all the Yomim Tovim are listed. And it says, I have a Chumash in front of me, Perik Chav Gimel, Daber Bnei Yisrael v'amarta aleim moyadei Hashem asher tikru ois mikroei kodesh. These are the Yom Tovim which are proclaimed as Kodesh, and it says, the first thing says Shabbos. And then it has Pasuk Daled, Eila moyadei Hashem mikroei kodesh asher tikru ois b'moyadam. So is Shabbos Mikra Kodesh? Who makes Shabbos? What does the word Mikra Kodesh mean? That's really the question. Does it mean that we proclaim it Kodesh? Is the screen fluttering by you also? No?
Yes.
It is? If it's bothering, I'm going to just take it away. And everyone just follow their own Shulchan Aruch. Okay. Okay. All right. So over Yom Tov, as I said, I'm taking a bit of my own medicine of looking at the Sefer HaSichos of the Frierdiker Rebbe a lot. I've had time to do that over Yom Tov, especially in my the minion on the street. They're saying all those extra yotztras, which I don't have machzor with which to follow. So I'm reading here in Sefer HaSichos Tov Reish Pei Vav, and he writes the following: and der Alshich is Gora Pashton. The Alshich, his style is in the Derech HaPshat. It's interesting. Retter dem ganzen Seder von Pesach, wie das ist in Aveda, in Kochos HaNefesh. He explains the whole sequence of the Seder, how it is in Avoda and in personal faculties. Sagt euch, als der Kiddush von Pesach ist nicht gleich zu dem Kiddush von a ganz Jahr von Shabbosis wie Yom Tovim. And so the Alshich says that the Kiddush of Pesach is different to the Kiddush of all the rest of the year. So I was intrigued with this quote. Where is this Alshich? I haven't found it yet. And in the Rebbe's Haggadah, where it has the Simone of Kadesh Urchatz, there's a reference to the Alshich. And in Levin's edition, he says it's a pirush of the Alshich on the Haggadah. At the moment, I've done quite a bit of searching, and I can't find a pirush of the Alshich on the Haggadah. He has on Megillus, and he has on Nevi'im Rishonim, and on Iyov, besides, of course, Al HaTorah. I couldn't find his pirush on the Haggadah, but there is a Haggadah. There's a Haggadah of the Rebbe which they did the Pinuach Hamar Mekoimus, and so they have a whole quote on this piece from the Alshich's Haggadah. So I'm intrigued. So where does this come from? But meanwhile, I looked up this morning in the Alshich on Parshas Emoir, and he talks about the union of Mikra Kodesh, and what exactly is the meaning of Mikra Kodesh. And he says that the Yom Tovim is different to Shabbos. Shabbos, as the Lashon of the Gemara, is a Mikad Shivakaimo. It's already Kodesh without us proclaiming it to Kodesh. Whereas Yom Tov is Mikra Kodesh, and that's the Chiddush of the Pasuk, where he says, Eile moyadei Hashem, Mikroi Kodesh, asher tikru b'oisam b'moyadam. Although it's atikru oisam, and you know the word oisam atem, it depends on Bezdin to proclaim the Yom Tov. Nevertheless, they're Moyad Hashem. It's nicht gestira. That's how he learns the pshat in the beginning of this whole Parshas HaMoyadis in Parshas Emoir, that Mikroi Kodesh means that it's proclaimed by us as Kodesh, and you shouldn't think it's got to do with Karbonos, and that's his arichas. Okay, but I'm just saying that's a hakdama to reading the beginning of the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Mem Beis. Shnei dvorim nisparshu b'Shabbos al yedei hanavim. there are two dinim about Yom Tov, about Shabbos, which have been specified by the Nevi'im. V'heim kobed v'oineg. And they are to honor the Shabbos and to, how do you say, l'aneg, to enjoy, to make it delightful. I don't know whether there's a word in English. How do you say it in English, to make delightful? Oh, thank you,
To
Rabbi.
delight him. To delight him.
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi Arya, for sending me a link to the Al-Shech Haggadah. I'll have to follow that up later. Thank you. Shene'emar v'karosa l'Shabbos oineg l'kdosh Hashem mechubod. So we have this pasuk in Yeshayahu. We say it every Shabbos by day before Kiddush. V'karosa l'Shabbos oineg. You should proclaim the Shabbos a day of delight. L'kdosh Hashem, to the one who's holy, to Hashem who's holy. Mechubod. It should be honored. So we have here the mitzvah of kavod and oineg are spelt out by Yeshaya. However, v'ikron min haTorah, but they are actually based on a pasuk in Torah. This idea that you should be mechabed Shabbos is min haTorah. Shabbos hu bichlal mikroei kodesh, because although strictly speaking, mikroei kodesh is referring to the Yomim Tovim, which depend on the calendar, and the calendar is by us proclaiming it Kodesh. That's what he's struggling with. No, Shabbos is also called Mikra Kodesh because it says clearly in the pasuk of Hayoim Hashvi Shabbos Shabbosin Mikra Kodesh. So you're having reference to Shabbos also Mikra Kodesh. So if Mikra Kodesh means that the Beis Din have to proclaim it, if you come to Shabbos. So what does it mean? Shabbos is Mikra Kodesh. Mikra Kodesh. Pirshu Chachamim lekadshoy lochabdoi b'chsus nekiyo lekadshoy, to sanctify it, Mikra Kodesh, and lechabdoi. It's holy, so you're going to honor it. How are you going to honor it? To wear clean clothes. Le'angoi be'oineg achilo shesiyo, and to make it delightful. That's all part of the Kadshoy, Mikra Kodesh. The Ksus Niki is covered. Let me just chaparain, because I have Panim Chadoshes who don't come to the Shir every Shabbos. Yeah, I've made a fuss a couple of times about the Talis cotton. I've told Oilam that I make once I got married, I very rarely make the brocha al mitzvah tzitzis, because in the morning I put on the talis. I have in mind also the talis cotton, boiling the tzitzis, by boiling the talis cotton also. But on Friday afternoon, after bathing and going to mikveh, I switch a talis cotton for Shabbos, because the word of Big Day Shabbos, that either you have begodim which are miyuchid for Shabbos, or at least they are clean, fresh, the covered Shabbos. And I'm saying this because I sometimes see people who are mahader of the Zeyah Shel Mitzvah for a whole week. They don't want to be mevater to take that Zeyah Shel Mitzvah with them for Shabbos also. And they have the same talis cotton. You get the impression it's been, it's got years of Zeyah Shel Mitzvah in it. And I would like to just emphasize that if you change your vest and you change your shirt and you change your suit, a covered Shabbos, there's no question, there's no reason why your talis cotton shouldn't be changed to covered Shabbos. I know some people have they like to have a worn out siddur. The mitzvah should be nice, it should be beautiful, and one should be wearing a fresh talis cotton, the covered Shabbos also. Of course, for Bachrim, it becomes interesting because Bachrim, they have to have one for night, another one for Shabbos. They'll work it out. But okay, so we have here, coming back to our noise, that there's a din of covered Shabbos, which involves ksus nikiya and food. That is all. So this is where the Alter Rebbe has said that's called Mikra Kodesh. It's a din. The covered v'oineg, he's saying, is a din min haTorah. It's the sparsha b'neviim. It's spelled out in the Nevi'im. But really, Mikra Kodesh is a din in Torah. That's the pasuk in Parshas Emet. That's the first pshat. Yesh Oimrim, there's a second pirush, Shemikra Kodesh hu lekadshoi beisur asis melocha. No, Mikra Kodesh doesn't mean honoring. It means it's sacred, that you mustn't do malacha on that day. Aval hakoved b'Shabbos v'Yom Tov, but they didn't have covered for Shabbos and Yom Tov. V'ha'oineg b'Shabbos heima divrei sefer. So here we have a machlokas, I guess, of Rishonim, how you learn the word Mikra Kodesh. Does it mean covered, or does it mean something else? Isur Malacha, yeah. We'll finish off the Seif, and then we'll come back to, there's a very interesting note of the Alter Rebbe. The fact that we should delight and rejoice in Yom Tov by having food and drink, that's Min HaTorah, as we'll be discussing to Simon Kaf Kuf Chavtes. To finish off, whether Koved v'Oineg Shabbos is Min HaTorah or Midrabanon, Mikol Mokom, it doesn't matter. Sorich lihizoy bohem moed, one has to be very careful. Shechamurim divrei sofrim yosem divrei Torah, because divrei sofrim should be taken. They are in a way stronger, heavier, more serious than divrei Torah. In Tovshin Lamed Vov, Naftali, can you see someone's? I can see someone's phone is not muted. Perhaps Reb Mendel, is your phone muted? Reb Mendel, is your phone? Oh, I remember Tovshin Lamed Vov, Achron Shal Pesach. There's a Meredike Ariches, and there the Rebbe explains the union of Chamurim Divrei Sofrim, Yosem Divrei Torah. It may not be mamish applicable in our situation, where he says, what is a pshat as Chazan is treif? We know, we learned in Tanya, we have Gimel Klippas Atmeis and we have Klippas Noiga. So Chaz is from Gimel Klippas Atmeis. So that's the Eibush that tells you in Torah, don't eat Chaz because of Gimel Klippas Atmeis. It's awesome. What about something which is a piece of chicken cooked, fried with cheese? In Torah, that's mutter. Midrabanon etzos. So in the morning, this was it was Klippas Noiga. When there was a Minyan Chachomim who said that this becomes Osir, so they changed its chayas. Till now, this same item was getting its chayas from Klippas Noiga, and now they've changed its source of chayas coming from Shodesh Klippas Atmeis. I mean, that's the Chamurim Divrei Sofrim Yosem Divrei Torah. That's how the Rebbe explained then. Al Kaponim, so we should be very careful about Koved V'Oineg Shabbos, and whoever delights the Shabbos, his reward is spelled out in the Sifrei HaNeviim. There'll be a time where you will rejoice with the Eibishter, you will delight with the Eibishter, the Pasuk in Yeshai. Uber Divrei Chazal, and also in the words of Razal, Shemoichelin al kol aveinosav, he is forgiven for all his sins. The Nitzel Medina shall gain them, and is also saved from the judgment in Gehenna. In the tour, he has is very, very geschmack. Is a whole list of quotes about the Milas HaShabbos and Koved Shabbos, etc., and the schar for looking for observing Shabbos. It's like a hakdama to Hilchos Shabbos. All right. Now I want to go to the Ha'or Zayin. If you have the newer print, where it starts off with the words Beis Yosef Simon Tov Pei Zayin. In the older print, which you've got, it may be a different number. I would imagine it's a different number. Yeah. He starts Beis Yosef Simon Tov Pei Zayin. Re'or b'sefer Achinuch mitzvah reish tzadik zayin. V'chol ha'moed lo yinema by mikra kodesh. Ela shekori mikra kodesh. So what's going on here exactly? What's this business about Chol HaMoed? And as you see, when it comes to benching, we say b'yoyim chag over Chol HaMoed. What did we say? B'yoyim chag hamatzos hazeh zochreinu Hashem Elokeinu b'Eilo Teva. We did it only on Yom Tov. Do we say b'yom Chag HaMatzos b'yom Tov Mikra Kodesh Haseh? So that's true, and also in Ya'aleh V'Yoveh, in Shachris, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. So we in Chol HaMoed, Sukkos or Pesach, we mention the Moed, but we don't mention. But we don't mention the B'yom Mikra Kodesh Haseh. Comes this in Musaf. So v'nakriv lefonecho, we say we do mention Yom. We don't say Yom Tov Mikra Kodesh Haseh. We say Yom Mikra Kodesh Haseh. So let's get a clarify. Is Chol HaMoed Mikra Kodesh? Is it not Mikra Kodesh? Why in benching is it not mentioned and in Ya'aleh V'Yoveh not mentioned Mikra Kodesh? And why in Musaf it is called Mikra Kodesh? So this is where in Mamish it's like a telegram. This it's not a telegram. It's in Morse code. What sagt da? V'chol HaMoed lo ne'emar by Mikra Kodesh. Chol HaMoed is not per se Mikra Kodesh in the full sense. Elo shekori Mikra Kodesh le'inyan karbonos bilvad ki dichsiv lahakriv ishe. It's Kori Mikra Kodesh in relation to Karbonos. I think with this we'll explain the words of Rav Hai Gaon in the Tur, Ein Bach. I didn't look it up now. About 6 years ago, I was intrigued by this whole discussion here. And the pshat is like this, that there's the whole Gemara in Chagiga, etc., about this, where the difference between Chol HaMoed and Rosh Chodesh, and why Chol HaMoed is also b'melocha, basically is like this. Chol HaMoed is not Mikra Kodesh in the full sense, only for Karbonos. And that's why, by Musaf, when we're talking about the Karbonos, then we say Yom Mikra Kodesh Haseh. But when it comes to to benching, and it comes to Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv, not to do with Karbonos, then we don't say Yom Mikra Kodesh. It's only Mikra Kodesh in relation to Karbonos. I struggled with the pshat over here, and at the time, I called the late Rav Ashkenazi, the Rav of Kfar Chabad, Zechreinu Levrocha, because I knew that he had a Geribbelt Sach in Yonim. I knew that particularly he had written them. He used to write articles in the Kfar Chabad, and I knew that this is one of the topics which he would. And immediately he responded to me that Mikra Kodesh. You look in the Ramban in Parshas Emor. Mikra Kodesh means Asifa Sa'om, to gather the people. And there's the difference between, so the Bichal Yom Tov is a time of Asifa Sa'om. Mikra Kodesh are people gathering together to celebrate. By the korban of Chol HaMoed, it was also that korban should have been also Ba'asifa Sa'om. There was an emphasis that should be an oilam, should be together in the Beis HaMikdash for the korbanos of Chol HaMoed. But when it comes to Rosh Chodesh, there is no emphasis of Asifa Sa'om for the korbanos of Rosh Chodesh. So that's the pshat of what the Alter Rebbe is saying in this little ha'orah. The difference. So you have Mikra Kodesh of Yom Tov, and then you have Mikra Kodesh for Chol HaMoed, which is only for Karbonos, and then we have Rosh Chodesh, which is not called Mikra Kodesh per se. Okay, I'm going to go now, just deal with a bunch of questions which the Olam Hot has been asking, and I'm going to use this opportunity to address them. As I was over Yom Tov, a boy came over to me, and he asked whether during Psukei de Zimra, is he allowed to say Tilim? The shaila is the Moshel, the Olam are waiting, the Tzibur are waiting for some reason. Let's say we had to wait in the middle of davening. The dustbin lorry came to collect the garbage, so we made a hafsokah of 10 minutes till they finished Mvaras and the Alei Birurim, and then we continued with Kriyas HaTorah. But let's say a minyan has to wait. Are you allowed to say? And sometimes the person davens a bit faster. The chazan is waiting to make up the minyan. Are you allowed to say Tilim whilst you're waiting? Let's say before your shtabach. So I told him that you shouldn't. And the difference between Nusach Ashkenaz and Nusach Sfard, Nusach Ashkenaz say first Baruch Shema, and then they say Hoidu, and then on Shabbos they have all the extra kapitelach, and then they, Yichvoid and Ashrei Haluka, etc. By Nusach Sfard, with the Nusach which we follow, so you first say Hoidu and on Shabbos all the extra Tilim, and then we say Baruch Shema and the Yichvoid, etc. And the reason why there is this change is because of the concern that the extra pieces which are added are not from Anshe Knesset Agdola, and therefore by bringing them in between Baruch She'oma and Yishtabach, it might be considered a hefsek. So therefore, one lechatchila should avoid saying saying extra tilim, which are not a part of the seder, in middle of Sukkot Zimra. Of course, you have a case when a person is in the middle of Sukkot Zimra and there's a Hallel, etc. But let's not go into that. But when there's no special urgency, so one shouldn't be saying extra tilim or other things in the middle of Sukkot Zimra because we're not allowed to be mafsik. Just want to remind the Olam that we're going to this Shabbos between Mincha, after Mincha we say Pirkei Avos. Question. Someone writes to me, he has an order on Amazon and a regular order, and they send him mouthwash. And so there's a mouthwash which is chometzdik. I'm not sure exactly what is the chometzdik of the mouthwash, but assuming that is the case, so he made an order with Amazon that they should deliver this mouthwash next week. Amazon delivered it on Yom Tov. So now comes the question, you had a delivery of chometz on Pesach. Is that, are you allowed to use it, or do you have to get rid of it? So I have in front of you, this is the shtar which I use for the Mechiras Chometz. I'm going to read a line from the Nusach, which I didn't make this Nusach. הכלל כל מה שהפה יוכל לדבר והלב לחשוב שיש בו זה אפילו חשש חימוץ. הנמצאים במקומות הרשומים בשטרי השורש. The chometz is located in the various documents of attorney, and the chometz in other locations, basodos, in the fields, v'al-eim haderech, or in transit, bayabosha or bayam, on dry land, or on sea, or ba'avir, or by air delivery, or bedoya, or in the post, v'yafshi yavoyu liyodeinu ad klois chag hapesach dahai shato. Anything which will be delivered to us until the end of this year's Pesach, and they should all be as kol zeh mocharti. So in the shtar we're saying that things which are in transit, which will arrive during Pesach, should be included in the Mechiras Chometz. So on that basis, if that's true, yeah, I mean that's written in the shtar, and so it's included in the Mechiras Chometz. So I wrote to him, bedoichik, I would rely on that, but really I'm struggling with this. How can there be a kinyan of something which I don't have yet? How can I sell something which I don't have yet? So, as I say, I didn't make that nusach. And I don't think it's from the Alter Rebbe. I think it was added by later Rabbonim. So there is a tzad to say that it's included in the Mechiras Chometz, but for a bottle of mouthwash, I told him personally I would send it back. If it was a bottle of expensive whiskey, that would have changed the picture a little bit, yeah? All right. Then here, someone raised the following question. Many Yidden are davening b'yechidus because of the current situation. And normally, they would daven Kabbalas Shabbos and Ma'ariv mibed yoim. They daven Ma'ariv early. And now, there's no minyan. So the question is, both sides. Can you still daven Ma'ariv early without a minyan? Or the other way around? can you continue doing Malocha until Lichtzinden, even though your community accept Shabbos at 8 o'clock, let's say, or 7:30, whatever it may be the time. So let's deal with the second one first. The din of Kabbalas Shabbos of a Kehillah being binding on the Bnei HaKehillah, that's based upon the minhag, which is mentioned in the Gemara, Sheish Tkiyos Hayutokim Be'erev Shabbos. They would make a public announcement of Shabbos, and when the sixth Tkiyah was done, then within a couple of minutes, you had to be Mekabel Shabbos. So the fact that there's a shul and people come together and there is a public proclamation of Shabbos, that is binding on the Kehillah. If they are the only Kehillah in town, within that tchum, that's binding on the Yechidim also. Even if they don't go to shul, they also bound by that. So my understanding is, in the current situation, if you are in a town where there is no Kabbalas Shabbos on a communal level, there is no such announcement of Kabbalas Shabbos as a community, although they are maybe davening each one in their own place, but I don't think it has a technical koyach of making it a Kabbalas Shabbos, which is binding upon all the Yechidim in town. So therefore, the Shliach who wants to, or Shliach, or whoever, wants to not be Mekabel Shabbos at 8 o'clock, or whatever it may be, he wants to be Mekabel Shabbos. Oh, sorry, what time is Kabbalas Shabbos today, by the way? Today it's 7:42. So all right, the numbers are wrong. So for different Shabbos. Okay, but if he doesn't want to be Mekabel Shabbos early, he wants to be Mekabel Shabbos Bisman, I think he's entitled to do so. The question comes the other way around. Is it justified to daven Ma'ariv early b'Yechidus? Because we know there's a machlokas in the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim, right at the beginning of Gemara Brochus, and we say that the Ovid ke Rabbi Yehuda Ovid, the Ovid ke Rabbanon Ovid, Chacham Ovid. So you can daven Ma'ariv early. Generally, there are sources where it seems that that's only B'tzibur. And I can give you a couple of references. In the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch Siman Tzadik Sif Yud, and also in Hilchos B'dikas Chometz Tov Lamed Aleph Sif Zayin. Also, if you read in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Siman Ayin Sof Sif Aleph, all of these places are saying that the heter to daven Ma'ariv b'Yochid, sorry, the heter to daven Ma'ariv early is only b'tzibur, not b'Yochid. Last year, was it 2 years ago, whatever, I was approached by the Shliach in Iceland to help him work out about the Zmanim, it's various things in Iceland. And so I wrote it up in the newest volume of Sefer Nesiva Mister Shlichus. So I have the first thing is about Zmanei HaMitzvos b'mokem shehayim misarich me'od. So here I have a quote from the Sefer Piskei Teshuvos, who says like this: that which you only b'shas hadchak kind of thing, can you rely on davening Ma'ariv early? That's talking about when they daven mincha after plag and Ma'ariv also early, because then there's a shtickle stira. If you're following Chachamim, so then you have to, and then of course Chacham, you can daven mincha, you can't daven Ma'ariv. If you're following Rabbi Yehuda, you can daven Ma'ariv, but you can't daven mincha. To daven mincha after plag and Ma'ariv after plag, that's already kind of, relying on 2 different days b'Shabbat zusammen, and that you don't have the right to, unless there's a minion, say, because the people can't be expected to go home and come back again. So therefore, you have mincha and Ma'ariv following one from the other. But b'Yochid, so that's what the Piskei Teshuvos is saying. That's because you're already taking that liberty of mincha Ma'ariv one after the other, both after plag. For that we say you can't do that b'Yochid. But a Yochid should daven mincha before plag and daven Ma'ariv after plag. Akalponim b'shas hadchak. I think one can rely on that. So if one has a need to daven Ma'ariv early because of the family, whatever it may be, and so I think one can be makel. I just want to share with you another interesting thing. I'm learning a lot of things by, from this minion on the street. One of the things which took me by surprise is Yom Tov. They don't say Shira Malus before Baruch Hu. We have a Seder, we have Shira Malus, and then we have a Shem Shia with the ganze Chazonis. There's a different Chazonis for Yom Tov and a different one for Yom Neiroim. Where then they start talking about Baruch Hu, and it took me by surprise, and I was intrigued. Mele Friday night, they say Kegavno, and right after Kegavno, V'loima Baruch Yis Hashem HaMavorach. That I was familiar with, and I saw actually a sefer that says what happened to with the Seder with Kaddish, the sefer Evan Hashoyam. So he says on Friday night they're relying on the Kaddish which was said after Mizbeh Shel Yom HaShabbos. That's what he says. But I can't accept that because I'm seeing that comes Yom Tov, there's no Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbos, and Mamish starts Baruch Hu. So Nusach Ashkenaz doesn't have Baruch Hu, doesn't have a Kaddish, because they would typically start Ma'ariv right after Mincha. So then they don't need to have a Kaddish because they come right after Mincha. That's what I've seen. But here in Musach Sfard, and they're not davening Ma'ariv right after Mincha. What's mitamol? They're saying Baruch Hu without a Kaddish before. It really bothered me. The first 2 days, I can't say mefashter dem Yom Tov, but it kept me busy. I was looking here and there and everywhere. And then in Nochmer, it comes Motzei Shabbos. Oichet. It's just a Baruch Hu. No Shira Malus and no V'hirachim. Just straight Baruch Hu. So I was intrigued. Where does it come from? Of this minig of not saying Shira Malus before Baruch Hu on a Yom Tov, and even on Shabbos and Yom Tov, and even on a Motzei Shabbos. And then I found in Taki Episket Shuvas, he says the following, that the reason for saying Shira, there's a lotion of the Gemara in Brachas. Odom bo min hasodo ba'erev, and he comes to the Beis HaMedrash, he learns a little bit, and then davens Ma'ariv. So the Shira Malus, which we say before Ma'ariv, that's the Odom bo min hasodo ba'erev, and he learns a bit before Ma'ariv. So he says, the Piskei Tshuva says, that's true in the weekdays, but on the Friday night, you don't have Odom bo min hasodo. And the same thing, even Motzei Shabbos, you don't have Odom bo min hasodo. He's not coming from hasodo. He's in shul, whatever it may be. He's not bo min hasodo, and therefore there's no need to have the limud haTorah before Ma'ariv, and that's the basis of their minig of not saying Shira Malus before Ma'ariv, Sai on Friday night and Yom Tov, and Sai on Motzei Shabbos and Motzei Yom Tov. Okay, you live and learn. But our minig is obviously we do say Shira Malus always before Ma'ariv. Let's go on. Birchas HaChodesh. Someone asked, what about Birchas HaChodesh? So really, the Shailas are good. The Birchas HaChodesh is to announce. It's a public announcement. It's that there's going to be a Rosh Chodesh this coming week. In the current situation, if you are davening b'Yechidus, I don't see any harm in saying Birchas HaChodesh. Shaila is, you have to announce the Moiled before. Say this. You'll say the Moiled of Zayin, you'll go through the motions. The Moiled will be such and such. You look on your Luach or inside your Siddur. The Moiled will be this and this time, and you'll say the Birchas HaChodesh, and the Rebbe shall help that all your tefillas and brachas should be miskayim. Should be a Chodesh for Toivel Levrocha, L'sos and Simcha, L'shur Nechama. Then someone asked me,
does it say you have to announce it or you have to know it?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It says you should know it. Yeah, it's not you're right. I was perhaps a little bit, how do you say, tongue in cheek. It should be later. Yes, that's the loshon in the Siddur, which is to know about the Moiled. Fine. Someone asked, are you allowed to daven for a choile on Shabbos? So, if you have a Shulchan Aruch in front of you, you can turn to Simin Reish Pei Ches, If Tes, where it says, if you have the new print, it's page Reish Tzadik Tes. Vafilu she'elas tzrochav. Normally on Shabbos, one doesn't request for our needs, our personal needs. Here it says, Afilu she'elas tzrochav hitiru ilm hu choyle hamasukon sakonas hayoim. If there is an imminent danger, every moment counts, kind of thing. Shezoyakim u'mischanenim olav b'Shabbos. For such a situation where there's an immediate emergency, so then you may cry out and you can plead for him on Shabbos. Afilu b'tzibur. V'chein mutar levorech ala choyle hamasukon. If there's a person who's dangerously ill, you can make a bracha for him b'yom. And he mentions also if a woman struggling to give birth, but then he says if the chayil is not masukon today, it's generals is a concern, but there's not an immediate concern. Then we have taka the inyan of not to say bakoshes for them, etc. And I guess that's where we have the lotion of Shabbos imilizik or refuah koreva lafai. What's this one question? Is that a question someone asking? I saw a flashing.
So why do they make a Misha Berach then for a chayla in Bavaria?
When it's not Masukin, yeah. So you have that lotion where it's a abbreviated version where we don't go the whole nusach. We just say Shabbos imilizik. So we say that Shabbos will be a kind of interceding on behalf, and so we don't normally unless there's an urgent emergency, one just says the abbreviated form. Okay. Right. One last question, which I'll deal with now. Someone asked, they want to give a presentation next week, and they found a suitable kind of clip, which also has musical accompaniment. And perhaps I don't remember whether we discussed this. People asked, is there reason to be makel about to listen to music in this time of people are locked up at home? Is there reason to be makel on listening to music? Now let's go through this carefully. The dinim of, there's two aspects of Sfira Saimer. There is the mitzvah of Sfira of counting, and that is in Tov Peites, in Simon Tov Peites. Then there's the elements of Avelus in Sfira Saimer, and that's discussed in Simon Tov Tzadik Gimel. If you read those words carefully in Tov Tzadik Gimel, he doesn't talk a word about music. He talks about mochel, rikudin, and mochelis. He talks about dancing. Mochel, the word mochel means a circle, and it can mean dancing in a circle, or it can mean a timbrel or something, which is a circular instrument. But the pashtus rikudin and mochelis means there dancing. So the restriction which is written in Shulchan Aruch for Asfira Soimer is dancing. However, certainly the Minig Yisrael is to avoid listening to music during Sfira Soimer. And I've heard sometimes people have said that the Rav Schneier Garelik said that you can listen to Lubavitcher music, and Rabbi Marlow probably would say something. Can you have Lubavitcher sausages in the 9 take? It's initiative, and I find it also. I don't like to give that answer because it's Lubavitcher music, etc. Because it's confusing to Talmidim. It starts gray areas. It starts to clear. But so what I'm saying is, so people are asking, so to say a blanket heter that anyone who needs to hear music is allowed to hear music without restraint, I'm not ready to take that route. If there is an individual who feels depressed and they are not coping with the confinement, and this is going to relieve their concern, fine. Some people have asked me, I've said, let's say one of the children plays an instrument and it's very good for them for unwinding. All right, so if it's an organ, they put on earphones. So it's not going to be music blaring around the whole house. It's going to be a therapy for that individual. So it's for a yachid. I was once asked by I think so, by Jem about when they have these, the Motzei Shabbos, we sing the Living Torah. So they have it's like a jingle between one thing and the next. I don't think that's the music which is the Isur, which is in the Minig Yisrael. We're talking about a music which is going to make a whole, a massive, I just, one grus. Last night, we tried to make a Sudas Mashiach, and my neighbor says it's a bit of a cold weather to sit outside for 3/4 of an hour. So I said, I get better, you know what? We'll make a Seder Nigunim. 15 minutes before the end of Yom Tov. So we had a very beautiful Seder Nigunim outside. So we had a whole Akalponim coming back to the Nikuda here. The question was, can you have a bit of musical accompaniment on a presentation? I don't think that musical accompaniment is going to get people jumping up and dancing. And therefore, I would be more noitel lahokel that would be okay in a presentation. It's not the main thing. If there would be a musical presentation, that I would say one shouldn't do in the Sfira Soimer. But if it's just a kind of a side feature of a main presentation, it's just in the background kind of thing, then I think one could be makel. And I'm going to. And of course, we're dealing here with people who have a doichik. Those who can manage without music, so we'll manage without music. So those who have to, no, say that. Al Koponim, I'm going to finish with this and wish you all a good Shabbos and keep safe and yeah, we zal zeggen zijn. Yes.
What is the name of your brother? Abram Shire.
We've added a name.
I can't say Abram.
Rafal Avram Yeshaya.
Rafal.
Avram Yeshaya.
Yes.
Ben Rivka.
Ben.
Rivka.
Yes. Rivka. Yes.
All right. I wish you all a good Shabbos. And we should have
Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott.
Naftali for hosting this.
I'll send the recording soon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.